Welcome to the Form Thread Podcast.
Hello.
I'm your host, Mr. Fusion. Back after a few weeks off. It was a well-deserved vacation, well-needed vacation, and not long enough, if you ask me. Tonight, Indy Renegades aboard.
I'm dying.
And
As
that's the last we
always-
hear from Indy Renegade. I am
Dying,
sorry.
oh no.
My dying words. I'm dying.
I done died.
Yeah.
As always, Chaos Mana.
Hello.
Previously known as, the artist formerly known as R. Golden is now Ray.
Hello.
Hi, Ray.
R-A-E.
It's been a while, guys and gals. What's going on?
I survived my first real official week of an adult job.
That's
What-
right. You're part of the workforce now. Yes.
I'm a cog in the machine as well.
What do you do?
You are your fucking khakis. You are your fucking khakis.
I wear jeans to work, actually. It's super chill. I mean, it's a
Uh,
call center, right? So,
How'd it go the first week?
good. It was good.
No. It actually went horrible because that's why she started with "I'm dying." She did so
Oh, that's
bad
pretty
that
good.
everyone
Well, I
else
got
in the
really
company
tired
had to kill her.
towards the end of it, yeah. I was really tired towards the end of the week because it was my first time in a month not working and, just 9 hours every single day. It does get to you. So by the time you reach Thursday, it's just like, oh, yeah, can someone please just let me go home? That being said, the job is really, really nice. I work at a Canada Apple support tech center, basically. So the past week has been just doing computer modules and learning about, iMacs and iOS and Mac OS 10. Fun fact, you're not supposed to say Mac OS X, you're supposed to say OS 10, which is something I learned this week. They market it as, they want you to say 10, basically.
And then why do they have an X?
Yeah.
Because it's a Roman numeral that represents the
Well,
number 10.
yeah, but still.
Yeah, we're not in
Because-
Rome.
Yeah.
We're not in Rome.
Well, okay, so because I've worked in call centers while in college many moons ago, I can
Okay.
tell that there's a bevy of things thrown at you. Are you in a little training area for like an orientation / training area for now, or did they already throw you to your feet to the fire already?
Well, the past two shifts, we actually got to go out and listen in on the phones. The first one, we were just listening and learning about like how we log our cases and stuff. And the second day, we opened the calls, asked for their name, et cetera, just grabbing general information about what's going on, and then sending them to the appropriate next person who can actually help them and deal with them. So just giving us a taste about it.
Mm.
It's not bad, except for the fact that I just really don't like Apple enough to buy their products.
Mhm.
I personally dislike.
Wes's Apple senses are tingling.
I know.
No, he's like, wait a minute. I feel a disturbance in the form thread force.
Yeah. Well, I admire Apple as a company. I really, really do. I mean, they've done so much for computing technology, from bringing computers to masses and to bringing touchscreen technology to all of us. I mean, they revolutionized
Oh, yeah.
the computing world over and over. That being said, I do not like overpaying for average hardware, and I don't like being fed that Apple is a special snowflake of a company when really, I feel
Yeah,
like
when
their
really it
product
melted.
I just feel like their products, aside from like their Mac Pros and stuff that are clearly used for like rendering and stuff, the way that Achievement Hunter does, but I just feel like they aren't as special as we all make them out to be, in regards to their products right now.
Well, the reason why is because they run unlimited driver resources. They're very basic in terms of their OS, in terms of the functionality of it. So you really, I'm not going to go into, I don't want to get on like too nerdy about it, but I mean, you can't do the things in terms of if you're a coder, if you're a content developer, there's a lot of things you can't do on the Mac without, special kits. And so I'm okay with Mac. I'm not. My biggest problem with it is now is they've become they are the iconic product for the hipster culture. That's the way I see them. Whenever there's a new iPhone, it's like they wait in line 10 fucking hours for this thing, and it's like really there are phones out there that can do a lot more, and the development kits are not the dev kits aren't restricted like Apple. I mean, are you
Absolutely.
really going to do that? It's like, oh, I got me an Apple, so I'm important. No. Now, I once again, I'll show my age like I always do. I remember when the first iPod came out, when it was an actual hard drive inside that little machine, and
Yeah.
I remember before they started using Flash. I remember I bought this thing from Best Buy, and I was in college, and it was 2000 when the first one came out, 99 or 2000, and I thought it was the greatest fucking piece of technology because it took a small hard drive, popped it in a little portable box you can fit in your pocket, and back then it weighs kind of like a pretty big sized a phone now, but it was a little heavier because it had a hard drive in there. But you could store all your MP3s, and this was in 2000 during the whole Napster thing. And you go and you would buy like the mini disc players, and they would have a DRM protection because they were owned by Sony. But then the one thing I liked about Apple was their whole DRM thing is very loose. So if you didn't own a lot of the music you downloaded, you could get away with it on the Apple iPod. So the iPod was very innovative. I know I know people would, if there are a lot of people that are going to hear this later on, they're going to send nasty emails saying, Magnavox did one, Creative Labs. I know other companies did it, but they didn't streamline the mechanics of it like Apple did. They streamlined the iPod and they made the user interface very friendly with that little wheel. Which, by the way, I miss the wheel. I love the iPod Touch, but I miss the wheel. I really do.
Because the first wheel actually moved. Like, it wasn't like a trackpad that later iPods did. The first one, actually, you physically moved that wheel around.
It was a little wheel that would move around like a little rotating piece of I don't know if it's plastic or fiberglass or whatever it was called, polycarbonate, but it was a little wheel that would move around, and the button inside was hard pressed too. And then the second gen that came out right after that, it was more of the motion censoring and kind of like a mouse pad. So, but I remember I bought the very first one, and I remember going into Best Buy, and I spent $300 on it. It was $299 for it, and it was, I'm gonna say it was 512 megabytes, not even a gig. It wasn't even a gig. The next year I bought a gig one, but I remember I bought that 12, and the guy was praising it, saying, okay, now and this was at the time when buying the warranty on these kind of, newer technologies was worth it. I spent like an extra $40 to buy that warranty, and I ended up walking around campus. I ended up dropping it and breaking it, taking it in, and that's how I got the newer version of it with the actual the motion censoring wheel, because I just turned it in, and all I had to pay was like an extra $50, and I got a new version of it. So,
wait, your warranty covered accidental damage?
Oh yeah, back then
you just kept on smashing it. And
no. This is what happened. I remember going and getting it. And I was like, "This is the coolest thing." And the guy was like, "Yeah, do you have MP3s?" I said, "Yeah, I'm, the computer miner or whatever." And I had a shitload of software and MP3s that I both bought, transferred from my CDs at that time, and compressed, and then some I got through other nefarious means. And I had a big collection, which I still do. I have like maybe almost a terabyte of music on a hard drive here on my computer, but this is like a 20 years worth of music just in that drive, and every few years I replace that drive so I can make sure it doesn't crash on me. But I remember talking to the guy, and he's like, yeah, for an extra $39 you can get this warranty. And I'm like, well, what if I'm not going to need it, the manufacturer has a warranty. He goes, yeah, but if you drop this thing, we're going to replace it. I said, are you serious? He goes, you can. And this guy was really cool about it, and this was in Austin. He goes, man, you can go fucking take it outside, drop that shit from the top of the tower, fucking hit it with a baseball bat for 10 minutes, bring me a pile of of just parts in a lunch bag, and I will give you a new one for $40.
Yeah.
I said, well, fuck me, I'm gonna do that.
And people still think that you can do that. I mean, obviously, as we all know, Apple doesn't cover accidental damage anymore, but it's because unlike what a lot of people think, there isn't a big warehouse with, a million iPhones and iPads and et cetera in there.
Yeah.
And that system is way too easy to game. So, I mean, it was only smart for Apple to change that because, I mean, people will call
this wasn't offered through Apple. This was a Best Buy policy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This was a Best Buy thing, and I don't know if they do that because I very rarely shop at Best Buy because I can buy better better electronics at Micro
Let's
Center
go
or
on
online.
Newegg.
So, or Newegg. I don't go into Best Buy, but back then that was really cool. But that was when Fry's was around, and I was still trying to dabble my feet in technology, but I wasn't a big gadget head like I am now. But I was sort of a gadget head, but I was still learning everything while in college. And I remember buying that thing, and he was like, "It's for an extra $40." And then like 6 months later, I dropped it on campus, and it broke, and I took it in. I said, "Yeah, I have a 1 year thing," and he was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." I said, "Okay, well, here's the new model," and said, "It's gonna, since it's a new model, it's a little bit more. You just have to pay the difference." It's like, "Okay, pay the $50." Boom, walked out with the 1 gig, and that was it. The
That
rest
is
is
a
history. I mean,
very
So that
it'd be
$40
nice if more
warranty
things
lasted
actually
50
had a
years.
policy like that.
yeah, I don't know if like I said, I don't know if Best Buy still does it, but probably, I would say probably not, just because, back then they were, Apple was selling those iPods, but the first, I don't even think the first two generations they were popular, but they weren't as big in terms of like the general market, and it wasn't a pop culture thing like it. I think the third generation is where it's really exploded, if I think correctly,
Yeah.
and when they started issuing the Nanos.
Yeah, the Nanos got big because, I mean, they're a lot more portable. I never understood the success of the Shuffle, and I don't know why they keep making it, because it just seems kind of stupid that there's no interface and there's no way of, there's literally only one function, and it's to play and shuffle your music. I couldn't not have an interface.
Well, it's silly now because most people. My theory is that was to hit the low income community. That was that market was for the
Yeah,
shuffle
that's
and
true.
for kids because it was under $100, which of course the shuffles now. I don't even think it's 100. I think it's like 120 now. But they I think that was the point of it. And but now most people have smartphones. Even low income people have smartphones. And what's the point of that if you can put an SD card in your phone and a 16 gig SD card in your phone and listen to your music on your phone? What's the point of even buying a shuffle? That's me.
I had a friend who would go snowboarding a lot, and he would take his Shuffle with him because it was like easy to hide, easy to clip into the inside of his jacket. So when you're snowboarding, it's not flying off of you, and you're not worried about the weight of an iPod being able to get thrown out of your jacket or whatever.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that would want to just simply run with it or do something with it, and then a lot of the bigger, fatter phones, which my phone is rather large and bulky.
What phone do you have?
So it's harder to strap something like that rather than it's like a button size. The shuffle thing is.
That makes sense. But then you can also get a wristband, those armbands.
I don't know about those.
Yeah, it's like an armband it's a little sleeve that you can fit around your bicep, and you can slide your MP3 player in there or your phone, and like I have them for both because I have an iPod Touch, and then I also have a Samsung Galaxy player, and I recommend this to people that like for most part 99.9% of the products in my house are Android based in terms of mobile OS. Reason why is because I'm not a big fan of Apple, and I have the Touch just to be able to say okay. Because if someone asks me, what would you rather have, iOS or Android, I can at least say okay, I have both at this point. But anyway, the Galaxy Player is really good. It runs Gingerbread, and then you can install apps, blah blah blah. But they make these little sleeves that are like a latex or plastic, and they have Velcro straps to wrap it around your bicep, and you can slide in the MP3 player and run the headphones from it up and to your ears, your earbuds, so you can work out without carrying it in your pocket or holding it in your hand. It stays on your armband. And like I said, I'm showing my age again. I've been doing that for a long time. Yes, I had one with a fucking Walkman, a big old CD player on my bicep.
Oh,
Wow.
cool there,
Yep.
Grandpa. Cool.
Yeah, I had cassettes on my arm. Yes, that's how old I am.
Do you still
My dad
have
had
any?
a lot of Monty Python tapes. He'd listen to a lot of Monty Python tapes.
What was that, Chaos?
Do you
Sorry.
still have it today?
Have what?
Have your old Walkman?
No. Those things gave out a long time ago.
Well, I know, but you might keep it around just for.
Nostalgia purposes? Yeah, no. I'm one of those. I'm not a big pack rat. I'm one of those people where if something's not being used, you throw it away or donate it to charity. I'm not one of those. Let's hold on to it for years. I'm not a hoarder, so to speak, about stuff. My wife is a hoarder, and when it comes to that stuff. And my boss is a hoarder. He doesn't like to throw anything away. I'm one of those. First thing I ask, have you used it in the last year? No. Are you going to use it in the next year? Probably not. Okay, throw it away. That's my. I just don't like to keep clutter. Now,
what if it was like a maybe? Because usually, if you could say, yeah, you haven't used it in the last year. But what if you're not sure whenever you might want to use it?
Well, if I haven't used it in the past 12 months, chances are I'm not going to need it at all. That's how I see it. I see it as you can probably go buy it or something newer, more efficient if you need it. So, I just don't like clutter. That's just me.
You have all the old devices at work for like all the the iOS devices, like the old, like the ancient iPod that you had.
Mhm.
I keep wanting to ask if we have like one of the really old like Apple II computers. I would love to see one of those, but I'm pretty sure we don't.
Now,
We would
let me clarify. I would love to have like an Apple II or like a Commodore 64, like if I had a
Yes.
bigger office, but that would have to go in like a display area or something because I wouldn't really use it.
Mhm.
Maybe I should buy. I mean, I don't know. Like in my office, I have posters of like comic books, and I have a collector's item poster. I posted in a journal a while back that this company out of Austin called Mondo, they do custom exclusive posters for the Alamo Draft House, and they do them in limited quantity. And their posters, you buy them for like $20, and they usually sell for like $500 because they only make like 25 of them. I have an Iron Man 3 one where it shows an Iron Man 3 movie poster where it shows every single mark armor. It's like a list of all the armors. And
Yeah, I saw those.
I have that, a Guardians of the Galaxy, some comic book posters up, and then eventually I'm gonna put up some like little comic book statues, like of Spawn or Spider-Man or something up in a display case. But I really don't like. Even though I'm a big sports fan, I don't have like shit everywhere because I'm not that person. I'm not that guy. I don't have athletes sign all my stuff and put a big old display case. That's just not my style.
My mother got a small Christmas tree for my stepdad a couple years back, and she completely covered it in Toronto Maple Leafs stuff and Broncos memorabilia for him. I thought it was the corniest thing, but he seemed to appreciate the gesture. So
That's
cute.
funny. So she's a Maple Leafs and Denver Broncos fan?
That's my stepdad. Those are his two teams,
okay.
and please don't ask me why.
That's just weird. The Denver
Yeah.
Broncos. I mean, did he live in Denver at all?
God, no, we're from Canada.
Is he a John Elway fan? I don't understand.
I don't know, but his team is the Broncos, and I don't really get why.
It's because it's fun to be just randomly choose a team. Just that one.
What about you, Ray? Who's your favorite team?
I don't have one. I don't watch sports.
Mine is Cloud9 Gaming.
Cloud9 Gaming.
Cloud9 Gaming. They are the best team in the LCS right now, which is the League of Legends Championship Series. They're going 20 wins to 0 losses in the whole split this past summer, and they're essentially dominating in League of Legends right now. Actually, fun fact, League of Legends players, like the professional, get flown to Machinima and game for as a career players.
Yeah.
They are considered athletes. They are issued athlete visas to
Do
work.
they have to take like piss tests?
How?
I don't know. I don't get to look at their contracts.
I'm just curious about that. Oh.
Maybe they obviously cannot be high. They're playing League on a competitive scale with the top point something of a percent of players in the country, because the way that League of Legends work is that everything is on a pyramid, and the top something of a percent of players, they're LCS, and everything else filters down basically. So everyone else who's just started or is bad is at the bottom, and eventually you go up the ranks. And yeah.
That's crazy. That kind of brings up something I saw the other day on Polygon, actually a few days ago. Did you hear about that pro StarCraft 2 player that retired after the World Championships?
What?
I think
I
his
did
name
not.
is Satori is what he goes by. But this is what I didn't realize, because I remember, years back, it was almost like 10 years ago, Fatality was like the big guy. He was the actual the pro gamer that was able to make six figures in gaming, competitions. But this guy claims to have won over almost $250,000 in earnings just from StarCraft 2. That's in just StarCraft 2 competition.
That's insane. Like for StarCraft 2 at its time as well. Like StarCraft 2, it's old. It's old now.
Oh yeah.
But you know, in Korea, StarCraft before even up until StarCraft 2 came out, StarCraft there were still like nationwide competitions in Korea. Like StarCraft was huge over there, even until StarCraft 2 came out. People were still playing it.
It's
over
still
there.
huge
Like
over there.
their servers for the first one were jam packed, from what I understand.
Indeed,
That's
they
just crazy. $250,000 on one game. Oh man, maybe
I'd like to be
think
that
my
good.
life. I know, right?
Thing is, the LCS players are making 6 figures right now, and you have to be at least 17 to actually compete in the LCS, but the average age for the people there is about 19, 20. So you literally have kids making 6-figure contracts to game as professional gamers. It's real. It's not League of Legends is not small anymore.
Well, here's the sad thing about that is they may make 6 figures, but after that, the value of that may diminish quickly, and then when they hit the actual job market, they have no discernible work skills, so they might not make much money. So if they don't save any of those winnings and then go to college with it or something, that's gonna bite them. I guess I'm just being an old man. I'm ranting like an old man about it. Whatever.
Yeah, I think some of them actually dropped out of school for the LCS, and they should, because if you're playing LCS, you are quite literally in the top point something of percentage in the world. You are one of the best players for the time that we're in right now. I mean, I have a feeling that
let's
really
just challenge a group of those guys, the forum thread versus them. See how long we last.
You know what? You guys, because I'll probably be guarding again next year. You guys should form a team for Griffball for next year at RTX.
I've never
if I knew how to, like, I wasn't quite sure how to sign up on this time, but if you're able to, like, if I don't know if you could put our name on the list, obviously not literally putting on the list, but kind of signing us up just like everyone else, then we could have a team.
I'd have to actually learn. I've never played it.
I don't even have Halo. I've never played that.
It's like dodgeball, but for Halo. That's pretty much what it is. You have hammers and I think a rocket. Is it a rocket launcher or I don't
You
even
have
know.
hammers and swords, and then you try to get the ball from one end to the other. It's almost like soccer, actually. You're just trying to get the ball to the other, especially since you can now pass it in between players in Halo 4.
Okay.
And by next RTX is going to have 5 out. So
But like I remember at RTX when I was a Guardian, during the tournament, I was out there for a little, like an hour or two, doing security, and I was watching, and there was this one team that I think they kind of caught people by surprise, but offensively they were very bad, but defensively they were very good. And there was like this little girl, she was like 15 or 16 years old, that was playing defense for this team, and apparently she had like mad skills because she was just mowing down everybody, and they kept saying, wow, she's doing this, and she stopped another one, and oh my god, she stopped another one. And the host said, folks, her name is blah 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 blah, and if you're looking for someone on your professional Griffball team, you should look her up. I'm like, damn, she went out there and was just playing and just sitting there just playing away quietly, not showing very little emotion. She probably just got a job out of that. It's pretty interesting.
Great for her.
Yeah. So I have something to say.
Yep.
This news came out this week that Microsoft, pretty much everything that they announced at E3 on the new system that pissed off fans have all been removed.
oh goodness.
Yeah.
If you remember,
They got rid of
I heard, the only thing I've heard so far is that they took off, like most recently I've heard that they took off the Connect needing to be.
yeah, that was
Connected.
Xbox
that was
180, the sequel.
yeah. Basically, off of all the new content, I mean the major announcements they've gone 180 on. The whole thing of being innovative and making it more of an entertainment console, instead of just a video game console. They've kind of backtracked. And I have to say this to the Microsoft executives: thank you. You don't understand. Rule number 1: when you jumped into this foray 13 some odd years ago, you decided to create a video game console. Remember that. video game console, meaning games on video. We didn't need streaming devices. We didn't need little things to watch people, dingling themselves while they play their fucking games. We wanted to play video games.
Do they do they still have the DVR?
The DVR is going to be on that. Twitch will still be on that. And of course, I don't know if some of these websites have, they took it, I'll say this: Microsoft really took it up the ass after E3. They got slammed hard because from a fan's PR standpoint because of the always online, the no used games, the having to be connected. It really pissed off devoted fans, and I think they realized that there was a lot of people outcrying that were Microsoft Xbox fans that were kind of steering towards the PlayStation. And PlayStation kind of reaped the rewards, and their whole campaign of, well, we allow used games, so Microsoft. And everyone's like, yeah, PlayStation, yeah. But, people didn't know. They kind of overlooked the fact that PlayStation kind of said it under their breath that, yeah, used games. It's at the discretion of each individual publisher, not at Sony, So basically, they kind of treaded over the fact that they're kind of doing the same thing that Microsoft was, but Microsoft just flat out looked like idiots at E3.
Yeah.
Now we fast forward
That system.
all this stuff, and then the death nail of it all was the online removed, and then the death nail, like I said, was this
Always
week.
online
Connect.
being removed is also one of the greatest things because you want to be able to take it, say, just with you on vacation, you're going staying at a hotel, you don't really have good internet at all, but you still have a TV, so you could still hook it up.
Well, and all of this 180 backtracking, whatever you want to call it, has given us an updated video game console, and I'm happy with that. I know there's a lot of people talking, and those that are playing devil's advocate just for the sake of it, that are saying, well, blah 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 blah. Even Wes, and I'm sure he's going to hear this, and he and I may get into it at some point about this because of the Microsoft's claim about the DRM content and their issues. Look, here's the thing: it's fucking video games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not rocket science. And I know we've become a very voyeuristic society with every tweeting and all the social media and webcams and video cameras and FaceTimes everywhere. And people are doing things and saying things they shouldn't and they normally didn't 30, 40 years ago. But that doesn't have to play a role in our fucking video games, guys. Let's just have good, exciting games. And, if someone wants to stream it, I get that. That's fine. But we shouldn't have to feel obligated doing this stuff. I don't want to sit in front of my console and have to put on a fucking trench coat and a giant blanket to hide myself because I'm worried about who's able to hack into my camera. I don't want that. If I want to play naked, I can play naked. So I appreciate it. I know people are going to, looking back on this, Microsoft will sell a lot of consoles. They'll sell a shitload of licenses where they make their money on these games, and people will enjoy it. And eventually, if we're going to have it to where people are going to start posting porn on their systems all the time, let that happen 10 years from now when I'm maybe too old to even play games, which probably won't be the case, but not now. Now's a bad time because society, it's still in the infancy of social media, and people still haven't learned how to fucking use it yet. They're using it the wrong way, and now's not a good time to give them one more means to be stupid online. End of rant.
Okay, devil's advocate for the always online thing. Yeah, it's shitty for when you want to play offline, but I was thinking about it. Initially, I was offended, like everybody fucking else was offended, but when I thought about it, I realized, when am I not on Xbox Live? When my brother is on Xbox Live on the other console, with my account, that's when I'm not online, and I happen to be playing on my console. So, it's exceptionally rare that I'm not online to begin with. So, I feel like Microsoft took that, and they looked at all the people who are online constantly with the Xbox, and then they probably thought, all right, well, let's take advantage of it, maybe. Maybe they just thought, all right, well, people are always online anyway. So, they probably got, algorithms and, stats for how many people are online. Let's not lie about that.
Well, yeah, but I don't think I think with those statistics, they they don't exactly see the consistent period of straight internet. I think they may peek in and out like several hour blocks to see people are online, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, and I'm saying this because I'm a Comcast subscriber. Unfortunately, I have no other option of a viable option in terms of bandwidth and data cap. But a lot of these internet providers are not Google Fiber. They don't have the 99.999% uptime as Google promises. So a lot of these people have intermittent cutouts of internet, and the whole thing is that at first it was you're going to have to always be online, and then you're going to have to always be online every 24 hours. So I think people were confused. That was the main thing with the internet. I didn't really care about the internet. The DRM thing, I'll be honest with you, I really didn't care because I'm a 35-year-old man that has a full-time job. I can buy new games that really, if I want a game bad enough, I can buy it. That doesn't affect me. It affects the younger market with the parents with kids that they can't go and spend $60 on a game every fucking week. I get that. So buying used games helps to kind of just ease that pain of having to buy new games all the time. They'll buy a few used here and there to make their kids happy. I get that. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. It didn't affect me. But the Connect thing, which was the final thing for me, but that was the major one for me. Having to plug in a device I really don't see a need to use all the time. I can plug it in when I want to use Connect, when I want to play games.
That's true.
No, I was reading a summary
But
online.
for me to have it in online really bothers
It's also at least the current Connect. Not a lot of the. It seemed like not a lot of the games, unless it was actually made by, like for example, Connect Adventures, which was like made by Microsoft and made for the Connect by the Connect people. It seemed to have very horrible response and like a very glitchy interface.
Because they're all
It was.
avatar-based games. They didn't really put thought behind it. It's like the Wii games, that like those first run of basic initial Wii games. They're all avatar-based and they're bullshit. They're just formed around the system rather than let's make a game.
It's a very good point.
Yeah,
So now that I had my Xbox rant, I got it out the way. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. I'm not buying the Xbox One first on day one. Not because I'm not satisfied with how Microsoft handled themselves. I'm glad they did the 180 twice in a row. They listened to us and they delivered, and I'm glad for that. That being said, there's no games that I'm really interested in that are going to be exclusive on there. The only game that I'm seriously going to buy the special edition with the Xbox One with the special skin and the super expensive thing, I'm going to get Mass Effect when that comes out. And I'm going to be that asshole who spent an extra $100-something just to get the special edition of the Mass Effect Xbox One.
Huh. I don't know. I think I'm going to wait a few months and then more than likely, now that the connecting that whole issue is resolved, I think I'll go with the Xbox One or the Xbone.
Now that all the worries they had before, it's just a matter of getting it. Maybe when the price will go down a little bit, because even though it's a good console, it doesn't have currently it doesn't have a lot of games that obviously when their games are going to be released, they're going to be like $60 anyway when they first come out, so it'd be better to get everything else that I'm going to get later on when both the games that I want are cheaper and the actual system itself is cheaper.
Good point. Miss Ray, do you have any input on this? How heavy of a gamer are you, I must ask?
Not heavy at all. I barely have any Xbox games as it is. I think I just got my Xbox 360 a year and a half ago, maybe 2, I don't know. But that's when I first started getting my games. Before that, I only had the original Xbox, and I didn't even touch it, so... Yeah, I'll be getting Xbox One forever.
I only played Xbox... I only just got an Xbox myself about a year ago, and I've been on Xbox Live since last December. So it's my goal to get to 10,000 gamer score by that point, which I'm getting close.
I will tell you, Xbox One, Halo 2 was probably the best Halo experience for me in terms of the storyline was good. It was a little longer than the most recent campaigns, and the online play was very fun for me. The maps were fun, and it was just I find it now to be a little more. I don't know. I feel a little more restricted in this in like the current. Whenever I go online and play Halo, I feel a little more restricted than I did during Halo 2. I don't know why, and I have to really think about why I feel that way. After a few beers, I'll probably realize why, but at this point, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess it's more streamlined, like maybe not as many choices for it working better, like them putting more detail specifically into the actual game itself.
Uh-huh.
And before, when they didn't have detail, like a lot of games sometimes trade detail for content, and the other way around. So you'll have a really high detailed thing, but you'll feel restricted because there's just not as many things out there.
You know, it's kind of funny, but I think you're right, because I think if you remember a few weeks ago, we had the whole Final Fantasy discussion on which versions on which consoles, and I think kind of, harking back to that, you think, yeah, a lot of the older ones on the older consoles were much better because the content was better. They didn't focus on the visuals as much as they did. It was more of the content. They made up for it in content, and it was much more compelling, interesting. And I think that's, I don't know, I appreciate them trying to do so much with these games, but I think that's why I like Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto, is because if the gameplay can be a bit redundant at times, yes, and it's kind of the same concept, but the story behind it's pretty damn good when you really think about it. And that's why I really can't wait for Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm excited.
But running over hookers with jet skis, though, that's the best.
Oh man, I think I told Sailor Tweak this a while back. In Grand Theft Auto 4, I think I would think I played the game for like 15 hours and amassed like $50,000 before I even realized there was a fucking story, because I was just running over hookers and people and taking their cash. That's how much fun I had in Grand Theft Auto 4. And then until I started making friends, and you had to maintain friends, and that just became, you're in the middle of killing people, and then your cousin Roman calls you to throw darts. And you're like, what the hell, really? Now?
Roman, I don't give a fuck.
You have to do it now. It is an interesting game. Like, you could just run around, like I like me and Ray just running around doing whatever we feel like doing in the game, and
Killing you mainly.
Ooh.
Hey.
Well, then, have you seen the most recent video for the multiplayer of Grand Theft Auto 5?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh man,
it's beautiful.
it's so much more. You're so much more immersed in the actual world that if you two like playing online, Grand Theft Auto 4 online, and killing each other and stuff, you're gonna love 5, because there's like multiplayer matches that are based around some missions, and you'll get achievements based on that. So the only way you can get your full 1,000 achievement points on Grand Theft Auto 5 is
online?
Yeah, that's the only way. There's several hundred points online, and people are going to be pissed because the game comes out in September and online's not available until October 1st. So I'm sure a lot of people will be pissed about
why
it.
is that? Why did they have it like that?
I have no idea. I didn't even read any. I honestly, I didn't. I just earlier today I was watching the video, and someone had posted it. I think it was on iHeart Chaos, and he had talked about how it looks great. Unfortunately, it's not available till October 1st, and then there was a brief discussion about the points based on that. So I didn't see a reason why they're delaying it.
Well, they've never done. Has Rockstar ever done online for Grand Theft Auto before? Have they ever?
Yeah, they did it for 4. I mean, the 4 is not bad. It's better than I think 3 had it too, didn't it? Not 3. Vice City had it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad after all. Overall, it's a little bit of an awkward interface system, only being able to use the phone, since you're just basically kicked right into it. In the game, whenever you start, you don't really have a menu at all.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a bit of awkwardness when using it, if you don't know what you're doing, if you never played a sort of multiplayer game before. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty nice.
Well, you need to watch the video for 5.
God damn it! I fell off the ledge.
What is
Sorry.
the exact date for 5 again?
I think September. Let me see. GTA 5. I'm going to look at this live on the podcast and release date. And no one has it on their site. God damn it. It's sometime in September. I'm going to say the second week, possibly. And Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's see here. Release date of Grand Theft Auto 5, and my internet wants to take a while, and I'm trying to fill time. And nope, Grand Theft Auto 5 is September 17th. So you'll have the game for 2 weeks before the multiplayer is available.
Well, I guess that does help you. It gives you a chance to basically, if you're one of those crazy achievement people like Ray, from G-Matter, then you'll have to focus on the single player before you get to the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least you can knock out one set of achievements and then go on.
I'm bad at getting I'm bad at getting achievements in general.
Really?
But especially multiplayer ones.
Yeah,
Well,
multiplayer
I've been
achievements
playing.
suck.
Yeah.
Well, not in
Yeah.
general, but I mean like Assassin's Creed 1 stuff, because I never want to play that at multiplayer. I never want to play it. It's only an achievement. I'd only play it for achievements. I'm sorry, like, I feel like I've said this multiple times, I'll say it again. I feel like Ubisoft makes that multiplayer just for the sake of, Call of Duty's doing it, and their entire franchise hangs off of it. And I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, this is popular right now, so let's, do that. Let's do all these mini games, and I hate it. Like, the Portal 2 multiplayer, I consider that good multiplayer because it kind of adds to the story. It adds another dimension where you have to play with another person, and GLaDOS is mocking you both, and et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like it's just multiplayer for the sake of multiplayer, and I do not enjoy that. God damn it, I fell off a ledge again.
Are you playing Assassin's Creed right now while you're doing the pod?
Oh, no, actually. Fell off a ledge. That's actually pretty accurate for Assassin's Creed. I'm playing Bastion right now, and it's a platformer game. It's really, really cool, made by Supergiant Games, and it's probably one of the best arcade titles on the Xbox Live console at the moment. Or Xbox Live console. God, I'm stupid. Yeah, but it's fun. It's a platformer, but it's one of those games where it's like you fall off a ledge and you come back, you lose some health, so it's just,
I have a gear shifting question. Anyone else? Has anyone seen Mad Men, the TV show Mad Men?
Nope.
Been meaning to watch it, but I haven't ever, not yet.
Okay.
Nope.
I've watched the first 2 seasons at this point because I think I've said this several times. I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan, and I can't wait for tomorrow's episode. I love Breaking Bad.
We can see your little that guy
Heisenberg.
like whenever you're talking, he's just his little face in the right hand side of the screen.
Oh yeah, on the Skype chat you can see my icon. It is Heisenberg. But anyway, I love Breaking Bad. To me, it's the greatest TV show ever because it shows the ultimate rise and fall of this guy from high school chemistry teacher to fucking meth god, And and the story is well written. The acting is Bryan Cranston's amazing. But anyway, so people tell me, Mad Men is the greatest show ever, blah 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 blah. And I get a large contingent of people that love this show are executives that are kind of living vicariously through the show because the show is just a misogynistic alcohol swilling corporate world and from the 60s, which that's not how the world works now. People get over it, quit acting like you're Don Draper because you're not. You'll never be Don Draper. Do your fucking job and don't think about talking to women like that or people like that because that's not how it's done nowadays. You'll get your ass whipped if you talk to somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why people love it. But everyone, you gotta watch it. It's the greatest show ever. It's so good. And I have spent the last few days or last couple weeks watching the first 2 seasons, and this show is a good show in terms of cinematography is good, the acting's good, the scripts are good. But in terms of entertainment value, it is boring as all fuck. Nothing happens in this goddamn show. I mean,
They drink and they sit there.
it's
And
like
then the wife gets fat. Like the blonde chick gets fat apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, January
That's
Jones
like
got
the most
pregnant. That's
interesting
why.
plot twist of the entire show.
Yeah. Well, no, there is a plot twist, and I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't. Well, I mean, this is 6 seasons ago, so technically I can spoil it. But the main character has this very dark secret to him. But the funny thing is, the secret doesn't dominate the show. The secret doesn't push forward the storyline or the concept of the show.
It's just a secret.
It's a major secret. Like it's like in any other movie, when you find out the secret, you're like blown fucking mind. But in this show, it's like it's a big deal, and then we move forward. And the next episode, Sally gets her period for the first time, and Marjorie goes to church. That's it. That's all that fucking happens. Nothing. Really?
Maybe
How
it's
is this the greatest show ever?
Well, does it actually ever get resolved, or is there just a lot of filler episodes?
A lot of filler episodes. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, but what people talk. What I'm saying is, people call it like this great drama. Drama actually has a bit of action to it. Like it pulls you in because drama works well when there's some action involved. This drama is just like it's like the Kim Kardashian sex video. She's just laying there and doing nothing. That's what Mad Men is. It's a drama that's just laying there and getting fucked and nothing's happening. It's just boring as all hell. It really is. I mean, people can hate me for it. It's just so boring. It really is.
Well, it's gone on too long from what I understand. Like people that like the show that I talked to, even like I think Zach enjoys the show as well, and he said it's just going on way too long. Like it was enjoyable the first 2 seasons, et cetera, but it's just being dragged.
I've gone through the first 2 seasons. There's nothing really worthwhile. His little secret is like I said, it's a big thing, but it plays kind of a backdrop, and it's in the background, and that's it.
Just watch
really?
it to find out what the secret is, and then be disappointed.
That's pretty much probably what it is. People are like, I want to know what's going to happen next to Don Draper, and nothing happens that whole episode. It's like, we're going to pitch to American Airlines, and my son burns his hand on the griddle while making pancakes, and I have to take my daughter to work because my wife has to take my son to the hospital, and that's it. I mean, that was the episode.
That is not an episode. That's him being a regular person with children.
You know what it is?
Really?
It's a TV show version of The Sims in the 60s. That's all it is. That's all it
Do
is.
they speak Simlish?
What's that?
Do they speak Simlish?
Sometimes you would think they would at times, because sometimes some of the shit they just say that comes out of their mouth is just ridiculous. But I mean, the only reason why I know why some of the workforce some of the people I work with like it is because in the episodes, all right, doll, bring me another scotch. Hey, lady, bring me another scotch. Slap her on the ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know the type of guy that likes that type of to be like the main theme of the story. We had a name for them in college. They're called date rapist.
Yeah. I found that's a little too much. I'm watching actually Orange is the New Black right now. Fusion and I were actually talking about this the other night, and while I am fine with gratuitous amounts of tits and lesbians and stuff, I feel like if it's not used to the full dramatic effect that it could give the show, and it's just gratuitous, I don't like that for a TV show. I believe there's a time and a place for everything, and whenever boobs for the sake of boobs in a TV show, I just don't find it appetizing. If I wanted that, I would just, make a trip over to Pornhub.
That's why you can watch Skinamax late at night. I mean, but now Game of Thrones was different. The reason why the gratuitous nudity in Game of Thrones works is because back then society was very brutal, so it fits it. Like you think, okay, is there a need for these people to be buck ass naked? But you kind of think, okay, back then it was a very raw society, so it makes sense. But yeah, I get what you're saying, and a few people tell me that Orange is the New Black is like, you got to watch the show, and I think Bernie tweeted this week. He's very underwhelmed by it. He's not very impressed by it. He was like, okay, everyone told me it's like this great new show. I haven't seen it yet. Like, I haven't caught on to why it's so great. Different minds, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But when you talk about the general public, which is the lowest common denominator in terms of...
like most of the people that watch these sort of things.
Like the bulk,
especially
especially
casual watchers that aren't like that don't follow a TV show, like hang on to every episode.
Well, those are the people that are actually following Mad Men on top of the exec world or whatever, but these business guys. But I just don't understand why it's so compelling. I mean, maybe because the backdrop of it being the 60s, and they do such a great job of, the set designs, the characters, the feel of the times. Maybe, I don't know, but in terms of like a drama, it's just very anemic to me. It's very bland. It really is. But I'll give Orange a try, especially if what you're saying is true, that there's a lot of boobage. And I have to say, rule number one on a good TV show is if you have my feeling is you can never have enough boobs.
Of course,
That's my
Fusion.
feeling.
Of course, I do.
Yeah.
It can be. It's a good show, but I mean, it's this white blonde yuppie woman who is going into this racially diversified women's penitentiary. So it's predictable in that kind of way. Like, she gets hazed in little ways. Like, I mean, imagine that scenario. This white chick going to jail, right? I mean, what's going to happen to her. But even that being said, like, I was expecting them initially to just follow the main character. Surprisingly, they didn't. They're following all the secondary characters, the group of women who are just this connected, extended kind of family members and friends, and I guess you could say. And it's going through all their lives and flashbacks as to how they got to jail. And some of the show is uncomfortable to watch because, they're showing a corrupt prison system, and there's a lot of really tense moments. So I'm still watching the show because I'm really interested to see, what characters will carry on to season 2 and who becomes, more prevalent. Jason Biggs and Natasha Lyonne, who are both in the first American Pie movie, both act in it. So it's cool. It's just a big blast from the past to see those two acting again. So, and together. So, yeah.
Wait, you said Jason Biggs and Tia? She's in the first American Pie?
Natasha Lyonne, yeah, she's the bitch.
Oh,
she's just like, she's like, yeah, okay.
I thought you said Tia Leone. She is the.
No.
She is in Deep Impact, and I remember her. Yeah, I was confused there for a second. Okay.
No, Natasha Lyonne.
Okay. Now the one I really want to jump on is Dexter. I've never seen it, and I've told
not me either. I've probably not seen, like, most of the shows that like RT and everyone talks about. I haven't even seen it. Not that I wouldn't want to see it, because I just haven't. I wouldn't know. But I just never. I don't really watch TV. Like I've said before, I don't really watch many shows, so most of the popular shows I have no clue about.
You should, man. You should give it you know what? I recommend this as a good starting point for these premium cable television shows, because if you're not used to them, like Breaking Bad's a really good show, Mad Men, whatever, but they still have a sense of censorship. Like Orange is the New Black. It's very raw, and it's, you're like, whoa, shit, it's too much happening. My senses are overloaded. You should try starting off with Weeds. Have you ever seen Weeds?
No, it's but this guy who made Orange is the New Black, the same guy who wrote Weeds.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of I'm not going to say it's a dark comedy, but it kind of is. It's about a woman who lives in a yuppie, upper class neighborhood in California, and her husband dies of a heart attack, and in order to make ends meet, she has to sell pot to everyone in the community, and just hijinks ensue. Mary Louise Parker, I know a lot of people like her. I can't stand her, but everyone else in the show I really enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed the writing, the characters, all that. But if you want to get into one of those premium cable shows that has very little censorship, I would say start off with Weeds, and then you can work your way into some of the other ones, because these shows, the good thing is, because they don't have the restrictions on network television like the others do, they really tend to bring out the character development. They really do.
That's good.
Yeah.
Tis.
Well, which one of the shows would you not recommend anyone starting on?
Any anime that has gone into 600 episodes, just give up. One Piece, Bleach, give up. Give up now.
Give it up.
You're right. Any TV show that goes, well, yeah, I'm going to even say this because I loved CSI for such a long time, but the original. Any show that goes beyond 10 seasons, I can tell you, after about 8 or 9, it starts to really dip down. After 4 or 5, the quality dips down a little bit, but when they hit closer to 10, it just drops down
There's
because
only so far you can take characters, really.
Yeah.
There's only so far I can take them.
that's why I appreciate the ending of Breaking Bad. I love the show, but we are in the 5.5 or whatever you want to call it, sixth season, and there is a, pardon the pun, a breaking point to the characters. I mean,
Breaking
it's like, okay, you can only go so far with, the concept of, a teacher that gets lung cancer that decides to cook and sell meth. It's like you can only go so far with that. And
Yeah.
the mom in Weeds, the mom in suburbia California, upper class suburbia California that sells pot can only go so far, and then she starts doing other things, like takes off and gets involved with the cartel, and it's like that's the jumping of the shark. You're like, okay, and I think haven't watched Dexter, but I'm told after season 5 it kind of jumps the shark a little bit, and then it gets back on the rails after that, after a few, like in season 6 or whatever. But usually after that point, okay, it's time to move on from the show.
Yeah.
I would say start with Weeds, man. It's a good show. If you have Netflix, start with Weeds. Maybe there's actually a show that's pretty good on HBO called Boardwalk Empire. Have you ever seen that one?
I've definitely heard of that one.
Steve Buscemi, right?
Yes,
Is it
Steve
show?
Buscemi's in it.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Sopranos?
Yes. Oh my god, I grew up with that show. I was so
that is
upset
the
with
gold.
Steve
That is the
Buscemi
gold
died.
standard of that is the gold standard of premium cable television series. That is a really good show, and unfortunately, I didn't like the ending like everyone else. It's
Yeah,
kind of a
I
cop
didn't
out.
like it either.
But I mean, I'm not one of those criers that think it was just a slap in the face. Whatever, shit happens. It was the 10th season. It needed to be ended. It needed to end. Whatever. But you should, if you haven't seen The Sopranos Chaos, you really need to start with The Sopranos. That's where you should start. Yes.
I'm pretty much fine, especially if I have free time for just going to watch shows. Like, once I get an Xbox that's actually my own, then I'll be able to do stuff like that. Because right now I don't have really Netflix stuff, and I don't have a direct account.
You can't use it on your laptop?
Not entirely, no.
Well, it's not a free service. It's $8 a month. So yeah.
I mean, they have it. It's just,
Oh.
yeah.
Well, that they can do you can do family, like each account will allow for 2 simultaneous streams now.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
you can actually set up individual profiles on a lot of the devices now for one particular account. It used to be, this was up until I think the beginning of this year, where you can have simultaneous streams on one individual account, but it only would work if one person was watching a movie and the other person was watching a television show. And if you both try to watch a movie, it would kick you both off. Now they say you can have just 2 people streaming whatever they want at the same time. So if you have the login information to your Netflix account, you can watch it on your computer and with no problem. And like I said, that's probably the really good. Netflix isn't really good about adding a lot of really good, compelling new content frequently. But if you
They
want to
keep
catch
losing
up on
titles.
shows,
They have Sherlock.
They do.
They have Doctor
have
Who.
Sherlock, yeah.
they have Doctor
Actually, I
Who.
don't know if we have that on Canadian Netflix. Probably not. Ours is behind.
That's right. You're in the Great Wide North. Things are a little different when we cross the border up there in terms of
Yeah.
what content's
Well,
available.
there's different legalities, right? There's things that are legal
Yeah.
for certain shows. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of
That's a very curious list to find out what is actually allowed.
well, the reason why is because, like, let's say Doctor Who. I don't know what network owns the rights in the UK, but let's just say hypothetically it's the BBC that owns the rights that are the original owners of it. Well, when you come here, a local company purchases the distribution or broadcasting rights, and it's different in each country. So Netflix has to go. They may have a deal with, let's say, just to make it easier, let's say CBS in the United States purchases Doctor Who's rights, to broadcast them and rent out or whatever, publish it in the United States. That may not be the case in Canada. So Netflix has to make a deal with CBS for Doctor Who here, and then if another company in Canada, purchase the rights, then they have to make a deal with them too. So it's almost like double the money that Netflix has to spend on that, unless there's workarounds in terms of like they can buy bulk show licenses or lease them or whatever you want to call it from these companies. That's how it works. And now you know.
The more you know.
The more you know. The more you know on TV. So that's why, like if you have like a VPN account where you're you have an account that logs your IP address through a different country, let's say that's why if Indy logs into Netflix, she may see a completely different dashboard than I do when I log in here, or we log in here.
Most likely, yeah.
It has a little flag on it as well.
Has a maple leaf in the background. Well, like mine says, "Hi, Patrick." It may say, "How's it going, eh?"
Oh, shut up.
Eh?
I don't take offense to that. I take offense to it. Well, I don't really take offense to anything, but a boot. No one says that. Literally, nobody says that.
The
How about a
only
game?
time I heard that phrase was when they had car boot sales in England.
Very interesting. Anything else to talk about this evening? Because we're already at an hour tonight. We're just
Holy crap, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're just killing it tonight. Mr. Chaos, anything in particular that's on your mind?
Not quite. Although, one thing that Dark, I will say that last podcast, Dark sneakily avoided, because I was listening back, he sneakily avoided talking about what was this like big incident that he had with a really bad sunburn. Like I had brought it up, and then he had so next time he's actually on, I might try to bring it up so you can finally explain what was going on, because it's not that important, but he just snuck around it like the silly Dark he is. And he is currently not here because he is off at someone else's house, so that's why he wasn't here for the current podcast.
It's okay. We miss you, Darky.
He'll be back next week. He'll be on, and we can find out what this whole deal with the sunburn. I'm interested in finding what this is all about. Yeah.
A sunburn that's inhibiting him to do a podcast.
Sounds pretty bad if you ask me.
He's probably just like laying out naked. He's got something in particular burnt and doesn't want to talk about it.
Ew, okay. Yeah,
that'd
that's
be
just
bad.
ruined it all for me.
Ouch, that hurt.
I don't want to know what was for sunburn now that I think about it. Thank you.
No regrets.
I'm a bit curious to why you put the current video on the
Super Mario one. If you're watching the stream now, there's a Super Mario video. It's just funny because there are people out there that hack the old 8-bit games, and they create really basically it's almost like a mathematic algorithm. You have to bounce and jump at, everything's timed at a certain 1 2 3 jump, 1 2 3 4 jump, 1 2 3 4 5 jump. That's pretty much all these. They make them that's these side-scrolling.
So
old
it's like
NES
a
games.
hardcore version of these games.
Yeah, this is what people. Have you ever? I don't know. Do you normally play emulators like with the old consoles on your computer?
No, I haven't played many. The only old console stuff is just PS1 games on the PS2, and that's about it.
Okay, so you're playing old games on consoles. What this is that you can download these, and you pay a fee to the website as like a donation. But there are people out there that have created emulators for the old consoles, like NES, Sega Genesis.
I've seen in the middle of the classroom. I've seen a couple like someone playing Pokemon right in the middle, like on their laptop in the middle of this college algebra lesson.
Yeah, well, because those 8-bit games, even when I was a kid, sounding old again, those cartridges have data on them. They're not like huge, like a lot of data for these games. There's only maybe 100,000 kilobytes or whatever, or 1,000 kilobytes. Well, people can go in and they can render the game. They can render the maps. So they modify the maps on these games. So like Super Mario, completely different than what you've ever played on the old Super Mario Brothers. Zelda, they modified the maps, the castles, and all that. So that was what that was the Super Mario Brothers that was just modified to be super hard. It was like frustrating to play that game.
Oh yeah, the first couple Zeldas were awful. Like, I'm a huge Zelda fan, as you guys know, but oh god, those first two Zelda games. If they weren't awful, I don't know.
Were you on Indy last time when we talked about when I was on talking about the urban legends and the whole haunted game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
No.
that was when
Oh,
the
wait,
Foreign
yeah,
Credit
on that
podcast
one, yeah.
turned legal, number 21.
Yes,
Well,
that was
States and
the legal
I'm-
one. Yes.
I'm legal because, Canada, 19, and not being stupid and making me wait that long.
On the beginning of the when I was playing the video that actually led me to find the entire Ben story, because that was number 1 on the top 20 creepy urban gaming legends.
Really, because a lot of the sites do the Polybius one, the old one when I was a kid. That was
That
was
was
an urban
actually
legend.
number 3 on the slot.
Really. What was number 2? Do you remember? Number 2.
Number 2 was Gigas from Earthbound, which had a background with a fetus.
Huh. Oh yes. I remember where one of the bosses you had to kill. It was basically like committing an abortion, which I know it sounds gross to talk about that, but yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that's where that came from, and then I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" And then I looked up some more in-depth descriptions of that specific legend. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I always find those things. Like I think I mentioned that last time. I always find those things along with cryptids very interesting. I'm one of those. I believe in aliens and all that weird shit. Yes.
Well, if there's intelligent life here, I'm certain it's someone else. I have no shadow of a doubt.
Who says there's intelligent life here? Figuratively speaking, yeah.
Alright, okay, I'll speak for myself. You.
What?
Uh-oh.
The aliens
God.
got her.
Oh no, I think she made her statement. We just didn't understand it. She just said, "I'll speak
Yeah.
for myself," and cut off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause
Okay, so then when they ask us to take them to our leader, we need to point them in your direction. Then I'll remember that.
Precisely.
And just go down, just go up there to the big snowy area. You'll see this chick playing Zelda or Fallout 3. That's our leader.
Exactly. Actually, at work, there was this one particular cubicle at work, and it's covered in like pictures of aliens. And in our training class, we ended up learning later on that there's like a specific acronym for how we're supposed to do our job, which is called PAIR. The first letter to PAIR, it stands for probe. So then when he told us what probe was, I made the connection in my head of like, oh, aliens, probing. Holy crap.
That's funny. I think we're at the point where we should be wrapping it up, guys. What do you think?
Alrighty.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm going to go play more games and get more drunk. So
Me
That's
too.
I grilled some bratwurst for dinner, so I think I'm going to go jump on the bratwurst.
I love bratwurst. Boy.
Well, gang, it's been fun to be back on the podcast. Maybe next week we'll have even more of the regulars. I know lately everyone's been... I think it's just a summertime thing. I think once it starts cooling down and school's back in session, I think everyone's going to be like, yeah, I'll be on the podcast. I think with summer nearing the end, everyone wants to go out and do their own thing for now.
Yeah.
So, but as always, it's been a pleasure, everyone. The email address is theforumthread@yahoo.com.
And
yes, sir.
yeah, for the Twitch, I've decided, especially since I'm the one since Nova had literally evaporated.
Is that a bad thing?
Oh.
If you ask Dark, he'll say who.
So if there is a video that, even though we won't actually be able to have audio, just whatever you want, randomly playing in the background, then you can you submit it in the Twitch feed, and then Fusion will take a look and then give it to me if it is past his standards.
Yeah, exactly. And then, as always, music submissions for intros.
Yep.
for the uploaded podcast are at the forum thread at yahoo.com. Questions, comments, complaints, general trolling can be sent there as well. Wrapping it up, folks, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and everyone have a safe, fun night, and try not to have your brains melt by playing too much video gamage.
Me and Ray are talking about penises.